2010, a routine training exercise for a cadaver dog led to a discovery that would send shockwaves through Long Island. Human remains, wrapped in burlap, lay hidden on Gilgo Beach. The discovery sparks a large-scale search, revealing the remains of 4 women over the next few days, all wrapped in similar burlap sacks. Maureen Brainard-Barnes, a struggling single mother, turned to sex work to support her family. Little did she know that this decision would lead her into the clutches of a serial killer. Who was Maureen, and what led her to her tragic end? Maureen Brainard-Barnes was a 25-year-old mother of 2 from Norwich, Connecticut. Struggling with financial difficulties, she turned to escort services advertised on Craigslist. Maureen was last seen in Manhattan in July 2007, where she had gone to meet a client. Her disappearance was a devastating blow to her family, who described her as a loving mother and a determined individual. Maureen's remains were found on Gilgo Beach in December 2010, marking the beginning of the grim discoveries. Based on interviews, family members describe Maureen's determination to provide for her children. She was loving, determined, and would do anything for her kids. Maureen was last seen in Manhattan in July 2007. Her family's distress is palpable as they recount the last moments they saw her during interviews. Melissa Barthelemy. Melissa Barthelemy's dreams of becoming a hairstylist in New York City were cut short by a mysterious disappearance. Her family received chilling phone calls from her phone after she went missing, taunting them with the horror of what had happened to her. Melissa Barthelemy, a 24-year-old aspiring hairstylist from Erie County, New York, moved to the city with dreams of building a better life. To make ends meet, she started working as an escort. In July 2009, Melissa vanished after meeting a client. Her family's nightmare worsened when they received taunting calls from Melissa's phone, in which the caller hinted at her fate. Melissa's body was found on Gilgo Beach alongside Maureen's, raising the alarm about a potential serial killer. During interviews, her family shares the harrowing experience of receiving taunting phone calls from Melissa's phone after her disappearance. The calls were terrifying. "We knew something was horribly wrong." Melissa's remains were found alongside Maureen's, deepening the mystery and fear gripping the community. Megan Waterman. Megan Waterman's life was a struggle to escape her past and build a future for her young daughter. Her disappearance from a Long Island motel brought her family into a web of horror they never imagined. Megan Waterman, a 22-year-old mother from Scarborough, Maine, was trying to turn her life around for her daughter. Megan had been in and out of trouble, and she resorted to sex work to provide for her child. In June 2010, Megan was last seen leaving a Holiday Inn in Hauppauge, Long Island, where she had gone to meet a client. Her disappearance was a shock to her family, who described her as a devoted mother with dreams of a better life. Megan's remains were found on Gilgo Beach, further cementing the pattern of the killer. Megan's family recalls her hopes for a better future. She wanted to give her daughter everything she never had. Megan's last known sighting was at a Long Island motel in June 2010, where she had gone to meet a client. Her remains were discovered on Gilgo Beach later that year. Amber Lynn Costello. Amber Lynn Costello was a woman seeking a fresh start, only to be ensnared by a predator. Her bravery in confronting her own demons was no match for the evil she encountered. How did Amber's quest for a new beginning end in tragedy? Amber Lynn Costello, a 27-year-old from North Babylon, New York, had struggled with addiction and was trying to rebuild her life. She had recently moved to Long Island to start anew. In September 2010, Amber went missing after leaving her home to meet a client. Her family remembered her as a kind-hearted and resilient person who was trying to overcome her past. Amber's remains were found on Gilgo Beach, linking her to the other victims and deepening the mystery. Amber's sister describes her as kind-hearted and resilient. She was fighting her demons but had so much hope. Amber was last seen leaving her home to meet a client in September 2010. Her remains were found with the other victims on Gilgo Beach. The discovery of these bodies raised the alarm about a potential serial killer, sending shockwaves through the community and setting the stage for a desperate hunt for justice.